Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast, episode number 2. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward children. I believe that our country's best days are still in front of us, but if we want those best days to come, we need to change the direction of the country now before it's too late. I intend to talk about important issues every week in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. Please like, share, and subscribe. To start off, I ran across something I think you ought to hear. It comes from the Daily Mail, and it was posted on the 21st of March. Check this out.
You a dog in this country. You're a fucking dog. You're nothing over here. You are a dog. Shut up. I'm Black American. I'm over you. I don't care about you.
I think we've heard about enough of that. What you just heard is an episode in the New York City subway where a woke man is yelling at a family of tourists from Britain. The family has a baby with them, and this person is rude, uncivil, and they're a bully. I'm embarrassed to be of the same ethnicity as this person. What has that family done to him? What's that baby done to him? This is an example of MLK's dream, a rude, uncivilized cretin verbally torturing innocent tourists? Is what woke is all about? Last week, I received an advertisement from Maryland's Republican Party inviting me to attend their 32nd annual Red, White, and Blue dinner. It happens in June on the 17th at a local hotel. That's nice. In light of the fact that Maryland's Republican Party just got a miserable beatdown in the last election, perhaps it should revise its tactics and instead of doing the same thing over and over again, maybe consider small dollar fundraising instead of doing the same thing that earned the GOP a beat down in the last election. Now let's review the pricing. $1,000 per guest for a private reception and dinner. $225 per guest for a general reception and dinner. $175 per guest for Central Committee members, reception, and dinner. That's $225 per guest for regular middle-class folks. So, young people with families, they're supposed to sacrifice to attend this event. That's $450 a night for people who are probably trying to send kids to college, pay for daycare, pay for kids' sports, taxes, mortgage, car payment. How about the retired couple on a fixed income? Must they choose between needed medicines and this dinner? How about the widow on a fixed income who wants to support the GOP but will have to dig deep to make it happen? What about the young Republicans, the YRs? Most of them are college kids, barely scraping by. They've got college loan payments waiting for them as soon as they graduate. These folks are the target voters of Maryland's GOP. How can the GOP preach fiscal responsibility yet asks its supporters to pay these kinds of prices to mingle with the party elite? Does the Maryland GOP want regular people to attend this event? Since the Maryland GOP had its election of officers back in November, what have they accomplished? Has there been an audit of expenditures? Where is the strategy to recruit new voters? On election day, will the red wave happen in Maryland? Not like this, it won't. When election time comes around, the GOP will have shown that it continues to be the party of the rich. Just recently, 2 teenagers were injured by gunfire in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. Baltimore's Mayor Scott called for a curfew on Baltimore's youth to curb the violence. But the curfew faces pushback. Mayor Scott made a comment earlier that the curfew won't stop the kind of violence seen in the Inner Harbor. Didn't he promise to reduce violence by 15% every year for the next 5 years? Both the Maryland Public Defender and the Baltimore City District Public Defender issued a statement denouncing Mayor Scott's move. Where's that historic reduction in gun violence that he promised? In his plan, it says officers may lack the in-depth knowledge and training to effectively de-escalate situations, while a behavioral response, health response, may be more appropriate. Now, again, didn't Mayor Scott advocate the defunding of the police department as a campaign pledge? Now he plans to take away the constitutional right of the city's youth to assemble peacefully. Is he going to blame the same police that he defunded? The Baltimore Police Union said that there aren't enough officers to enforce a youth curfew policy for young people this summer. So, should those who encourage the defunding of the police expect something different? Mayor Scott, what's the plan? Going to defund the police? Or are you going to hire more police to run your curfew? What's the plan? The other day, my buddy sent me a video of the rapper Kid Rock going full auto on a pallet of Bud Light beer. I asked, why would Kid Rock abuse alcohol like that? Anheuser-Busch's ad campaign kicked off with a naked Dylan Mulvaney drinking Bud Light from a bathtub. Bud Light's partnership with Mulvaney included custom cans featuring his face and pro-LGBTQ language to commemorate the biological male becoming a trans woman and being so for over a year. Anheuser-Busch lost $6 billion in 6 days using that campaign. Bar owners nationwide and distributors report a sharp decline in Bud Light sales over the past week. Imagine that, asking masculine men to drink beer with the face of the least masculine person on the planet with their face on the can. Now, how dumb is that? Anheuser-Busch is hemorrhaging money, and rightfully so. I rarely drink beer, but when I do, it won't be Bud Light. So how's it go? Go woke, go broke. Soon, all these woke companies will find that customers have choices. Customers are tired of having politics and sexuality inserted into every event. When a company fails to support its values or your values, you choose another product. I say, vote with your wallet. Meantime, Mulvaney has scored ads with Nike, Oil of Olay, and other companies. I won't be buying any of their products either. And that goes double for Disney and Netflix. The Daily Caller reports that the U.S. reached an agreement with the government of South Korea last month to obtain 500,000 rounds, that is, of 155 millimeter artillery shells. The reporter from Reuters reported that on Wednesday, citing a South Korean newspaper. U.S. stocks of the 155 millimeter rounds, which are used heavily in the battlefield of Ukraine, have fallen to critically low levels, and the Biden administration sought artillery ammunition from the South Korean government in March. South Korea will lend shells to the U.S. rather than selling them to avoid the possibility of those shells being delivered to the Ukraine in a future assistance package, thereby violating South Korea's policy against supplying lethal items to countries at war. Routing the deal through the U.S. allowed South Korea to avoid complicity in Ukraine's attacks on Russian forces. The shells will be primarily used to backfill U.S. stockpiles. News of the agreement comes after the leaked Pentagon documents from March describing a conversation between two South Korean national security officials about potentially rerouting artillery through Poland, alarming officials and prompting South Korea to confront Washington about the disclosure, according to Reuters. The U.S. has sent more than 1.5 million 155 millimeter shells for the howitzer system to the Ukraine, as well as an additional 6,500 GPS-guided rounds. The DoD has asked the South Korean government to violate its constitution in order to carry out the war in the Ukraine that we're not officially part of. Now let that sink in. This all has to do with the DoD intel link that happened last week, the leak, that is. You will hear a whole lot more about the leak coming up in the future. This is only the tip of the iceberg. That's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Liberty Arise Media and other podcasters. Be sure to get your copy of my new book, Black Values Matter, on Amazon or as an ebook on Audible. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel and to this podcast. And remember, it's okay to disagree, but at some point, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility if we expect our country to survive and prosper. We are the loyal opposition. See you next week.